I love being a woman. I love my femininity. And my gender has never ever held me back in anything I've ever wanted to do or achieve. But it's very clear in an industry that is dominated by women, we are still led by men. It's not a bad thing, but it is why we're here today. I believe the BSP sits at about 24 billion, which is really the BSP of the ticket sales in South Africa. The audience represents today about 70% of that outbound market. There are women that recruit these are women that recruit new customers, develop their businesses, and retain their market. These are the women that have taken their business through disasters that have affected all of us in the industry over the last decade. All I ask is that today, amongst yourselves, let's explore ways that we can formulate a more regular event. It doesn't have to be with all the bells and whistles, but just a gathering and just to get together, a group of us who are committed to actually building a network.
I'm very much in favor of networks. I think it's great to talk and to discuss things and to rally together. Then the other thought I had from the topic was, why aren't there more women travel business owners? So I'm not sure if that's what you were getting at. But that's a whole other story, because that isn't really to do with networking. That's to do with women's ambitions and needs. It's a great time for women in any kind of business today.
As an entrepreneur, I've been an entrepreneur for 16 years. My son turned 16 a week ago. And it occurred to me that he was exactly 3 months old when I ventured out into the world of business by myself. And if I was to describe that experience, I think it has been one of the loneliest experiences I've ever had. Because there are times when you really need someone to turn to ask a question. Is this the right decision? Does this proposal make sense? I'm thinking of collaborating with that organization. Do you think I ought to do that? And eventually, one of the businesses I ran, I sold. I sold for a whopping 25 rand. I left a sales book of 30 million and walked out to 25 rand. And my dignity and my sanity. And one of the things that I ought to have done when I think about it now was had a chat with somebody. And somebody should have said, are you out of your mind? No, don't walk away. Fight. Fight for 25% of that 30 million. And I didn't. And so one of the big challenges I have found about being in business is just the loneliness, the uncertainty of whether you're making the right decision, the uncertainty of whether I should go this way or that way. The fact that some days you actually wake up and it's too much effort. And I want to read a quote to you, and I want you to tell me if any of you knows who said it. And there are still days I wake up feeling like a fraud, not sure I should be where I am. Do any of you know who said that? Man or woman? Woman. Sheryl Sandberg. Yes. And who's Sheryl Sandberg? Anybody know? She's the CEO of Facebook. In her book, Lean In. This is a woman who runs one of the most massive organizations worth a tremendous amount of money. I have to tell you, I don't get it. I don't get the Facebook thing. I really don't. But anyway, you know what? I accept that. And so that's the reality. And so for me, the networking opportunities are also about us asking ourselves, what do we want to get out of it? Because sometimes I think we come into networking sessions and expect it to give us something, rather than us saying, what do we want? And how do we then create that thing that we need? And as an employer and often as a member of a team, I often say to my team, tell me what you want from me. Don't think that as a manager I know what you need. I don't. I can't read your mind. But if you tell me what you need as a leader and as a manager and as a teammate, I can give you that. But in the same way, I need stuff too. So I also need the opportunity to be able to say, can I have this? Can we talk about that? Can we discuss this? And that is, I think, one of the most valuable things of a networking event of this nature. What do you want? Are you here because you want deals? Then great, say that. Say, I'm here because I want bigger deals. Great, guys, how do we talk about that? How do we compete with each other and collaborate with each other? There's an interesting new word, and it's ICT, I think, that brought it up, Joan, called co-opetition. How can we compete but actually still collaborate?
I also believe that there's an inherent responsibility upon all of us to look after those coming through the ranks. There really is, whether they work for us or whether they're in our teams or whether they call on us as businesses.